Listen, I'm gonna try to get through this. Because usually I write down what it is that I want to say, and I have things sort of structured in a certain way. And now I'm just like doing something completely else. And like, I'm just gonna ride with it and see where it goes. Here, look, check out this little. I got this from an art exhibit called Human Nature, and it's a little vial. It's not really focusing. It's just a vial of moss. It's real moss, and it smells like. Excuse me, I burped. It smells grassy and earthy. The artist who gave these away, well, you had to like write a letter to, our the future us, and the future of Earth. It was an art exhibit about climate change, and so I wrote a letter that was all kind of and because I really wanted a little glass of, she had mentioned that the smell of it is a smell that is billions of years old. Basically, the scent from like when dinosaurs were, basically, and it has a very. I feel like the smell. I don't know if you ever went outside and just put your face up to some moss and just smelled it. I certainly haven't, but if I had a fragrance, I would definitely channel this experience. I would call it like, if it was a clone, I would call it Primordial Man. It would be very sexy, very very sensual, very earthy. It would make you feel. It would make you feel like an erotic caveman. If that is your tea, if it isn't, then listen here, you better get into it, because that's really what it is. I mean, we're all just essentially human animals, and I feel like the more we can connect to that human animal instinct in us, the happier everyone will be. Everyone's so intent on doing things, I guess, in a logical manner, and that's not to say logistics isn't important. Of course it is, but there's a lot of things within us that are mostly instinctual. And when we ignore those instincts within ourselves, we further disconnect from the human animal that we are. And some people are like, I ain't no damn animal, and it's like, well, you are, you know what I mean? Of course you are. That's kind of a solipsistic way to look at yourself. There's a lot of people who would love to believe that we aren't a part of this earth, that we aren't connected to the ecosystem of the planet, and it's wrong. And like, even with climate change, there's a lot of people who, the argument is usually, we're killing our planet. It's like, that's not. I mean, are we damaging the planet? I mean, nothing beyond what I believe the Earth is capable of mending within itself. But it's sort of like a suicidal mass extinction that that we're putting ourselves through, you know? And if the earth needs to heal itself without us, then so be it. That's totally possible. The earth, long before us, long before, way back, billions of years ago, like when the earth was just a hot soup of lava and toxic fumes, out of that life has emerged, and I have no doubt that it would be able to do the same thing once again, you know? And so it's really, it really comes down to the perspective we choose to live with on this earth, not only socially, but personally, you know? The things we do in our everyday life that connect us back to nature, that connect us back to our human animal instincts, that reminds us that we are a part of the larger ecosystem, not only of the world, but from the most microscopic perspective, from the Planck stage all the way to cosmically. I mean, you could say, well, that's a reach, but I mean, that's the point, like our life reaches, like that's what we're doing. That's what this point is, and especially now that it's spring, now that the days are longer, thank God, now that there's more sun, now that there's more hope in the air, like it's important to remember that life reaches, just as a seed is planted in dirt and grows towards the sun, that's essentially what life is. That's what life should be, Life isn't stagnancy. I'd just be talking. But one thing I did want to say, what I really have been thinking about, especially now that we're moving towards spring, we're moving towards brighter days. You could say, no, we aren't, but I would say, you speak for yourself, because I don't know about you, but me and mine are reaching for brighter days, Essentially, what it is that life does is propagate information for the future, for generations. It takes the information necessary towards sustaining life and continues to sustain life. It's that building block that reaches towards the sun. I mean, and when we consider all the decisions that we make, as far as anything, like the decisions we make in our lives, and how those decisions and choices carry us, they carry us forward. Sometimes they carry us forward, I mean, well, despite all else, like we can't really go back, really. It's everything is sort of done in a motion forward, but I'm sorry, I had to take a moment. But the decisions we make, the choices we make, inform the future, not just our future, but others as well, you know, future generations. You know, when you think about ancestors, you know, past relatives, you know, whether it be as simple as, you know, your grandma or her grandma, you know, or generations of grandmas and grandpas and uncles and aunts, you know, and the decisions they have made, and how even if we can't necessarily recognize the residual effects of those decisions now in our everyday lives, you know, it's a matter of fact that, you know, that those residual effects still, you know, appear in the way that we make decisions, in the way that we move, you know. And some people would say, oh, you know, it's a DNA, it's a spiritual thing, it's a, you know, it can be anything, you know. But I mean, some people might say it's a generational curse, or, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be a curse. It doesn't have to be anything that sounds scary, you know what I mean? It's really just a matter of taking the information that was laid down before us, that bedrock of meaning that was given to us from previous generations, and understanding it more, and willingly approaching it from a new perspective in order to build on top of it, you know, and make new decisions, you know, that inform new generations, and inspire to do something else, you know. Not everything was always meant to be done in the same way. You know, listen here, I'm just talking, and I am just going to be talking. Oh. And if shit makes sense, the shit makes sense, you know what I mean? And if it don't, then, you know what I mean? And I think what's most important, especially now, you know, I feel like we've reached a very critical point in human history where, you know, and this is something that can be arguably said, you know, for every generation, but one thing is true, is it's definitely true for now, you know. We've reached such a critical point in human history where we have no choice but to radically change the way that we build on top of that new bedrock. You know, we can't do the same things that we used to do, because not only do we know better, not only do we see how it actually affects us, how it actually affects the world around us, you know, but it's suicidal at this point. As a civilization, it's a suicide mission, you know. The way we treat others, the way we treat ourselves, you know, it's not a sustainable way of propagating information for our future. And when we think about propagating information, well, what's that mean? It's meaning, you know. If we look at information as the ways that we've come to define various aspects of our lives, you know, if we, it's assigning new ways of experiencing life. It's about learning, and it's about learning to live in a way that is most authentic and aligned to the human animal within us. You know what I mean? Let me pull out this primordial man. And dab some behind my ears. Ugh, it just smells so fresh. Almost like freshly mowed grass. But there's almost like a jungle quality to it. I do love moss. I would like to make a moss garden. Like that's what I'm working up towards after I finish all the 511 things that I've already started. If you would like to see me make a moss garden, subscribe, like, and share or whatever. Because you know I'm just gonna be in this bitch talking, acting free range. This is actually a crop top. The long story short of it is, we are our ancestors. we are. I bit my tongue when I said that. Maybe that's symbolic. We are our ancestors. That's to say, the decisions we make now greatly impact the quality of the livelihoods of future generations on this planet. And when we make decisions based out of fear, when we make decisions from a place of scarcity or lack, when we make decisions that neglect our highest good and the highest good of the collective that we all belong to, like those decisions when you make decisions that are based on archaic traditions and beliefs and aspects of ourselves that no longer benefit reaching towards the sun, you know, then we do our world a disservice, you know? It's about being mindful of the decisions we make and understand why we make those decisions, and understand who really benefits and who can be uplifted by these things. Ooh, there ain't no other way, baby, I was born this way. Baby, I was born this way. Listen here, you know, because it's gonna be warm outside. It's gonna be hot. I cannot wait to be on somebody's beach, looking like a slut. I'm here for it. I'm here for all of it. You know, I'd just be talking. some questions, some journal prompts, if you will. What is most significant in my life? What has the most meaning to me? And how have I come to and how have I come to assign the meaning to that significance? What decisions have I made that what decisions have I made that differ from those of the rest of my family, from the rest of my community, from the rest of society? And how might those decisions open me up to create a new world, that I've never experienced before? What am I most excited about creating, not just for myself, but for others? And where do I want future generations to build on top of the decisions I've made in my lifetime? Very existential, very, but it's nice to sometimes just rise above ourselves and rise above our situations, and see that there's a lot more going on than just what's... Sometimes we're just too close to a problem to really understand what's going on. And I those are just some prompts. Those are some things to think about. You don't have to write them down, but if you do write them down, I would like to say, I do sell some very beautiful, excellent notebooks, beautiful notebooks, journals, on my website. I'll put them on sale so it can be a little bit more accessible. I'll put them on sale. There is free shipping. As a journal myself, I found that writing down my thoughts and feelings and answering prompts and questions that really help me explore the deepest nooks and crannies of my own personal world. It's a great mindful way of experiencing... I'm just talking. This one right here is actually full. I don't know. Should I make an OnlyFans and just read my diary? Maybe. We are in this bitch. Flexing. Hopefully some of this made sense. Hopefully some of this is beneficial. Put it in your notebook, put it in your brain, pick it apart, think about it sometimes. I am gonna take off these things off my face and get ready to get some sun, because outside is beautiful. It's a beautiful day outside. It's a beautiful spring day, and I'm just glad that the sun is out. I'm just glad that that it's a whole new season, because Lord knows we need a new season. Lord. Holla. Okay, listen, I am gonna, excuse me, walk away, because I'm just talking at this point, and there's not much that I think I can say left. So, stay safe and stay blessed and stay beautiful, honey. Let me give you a call. I do want to leave you with something. Oh, leave you with a little cute little message. If we saw someone else treating us the way most of us treat ourselves, we might think them despicably cruel. I'll say that one more time. If we saw someone else treating us the way most of us treat ourselves, we might think them despicably cruel. Is that backwards?